And I thought that was very nasty. I thought it was evil. And I do not appreciate that. I do not appreciate it. And he will forever be an enemy to me because of that. Welcome to the BoyFriends podcast, where we help you find your circle.
And your man.
Are y'all happy?
I just want you to know this took 3 times to do. 3 times.
That was their idea. That was not my
Y'all
idea.
know it was cute. Don't forget. Y'all know it was cute. It's giving like Vanna White or Oprah, you know. And those are 2 different things, but you know.
So for those of you just listening, we were turning around in our chairs. It was a different intro, visually, I will say. But yeah, so we have an interesting topic today. Again, Tony and Sarun are not with us today, but the 3 of us are going to try to tackle this, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know.
It's a very broad, very sensitive topic. So.
It definitely is. I really do wish that Sarun could be a part of it, because I would love to get his perspective on it too. I think he's touched on it in the past before. But yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's say what it is.
Yeah.
So a viewer has asked us. This is coming from Aaron. He asks, "Can we talk about dealing with racism and preferences in the gay community?" So, yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
So it's definitely there. Both are definitely there, and both are definitely prevalent. It's sad because we've built. Well, we haven't built, but we live in a society that has been built where it's almost, well, it's not almost, it is, it's a machine, it's a system where it's conditioned, even in black people, to where we don't even realize that we will stereotype or mistreat someone just based on who they are and some things about them that they can't change, because what we have been conditioned to believe about ourselves and what the world has been conditioned to believe about minorities in general, you know, people of color, not just black people, but I'm black, so I'm gonna speak from the black person point of view. But yeah, so it really sucks that we have to live in a world like this, and it's almost so nuanced to where sometimes you don't realize that you're doing it, you know? And I think that is the real issue, which is why a lot of people say we need to just tear down the whole system and start over, because it's so nuanced to the point where we don't even realize that we're being prejudiced or being, you know.
So what have been some instances of racism that you've dealt with in the gay community? Or if you can think of one.
I wouldn't say racism. Not in the gay community. Have I dealt with racism before? Yes. I went to a PWI. Hello. But no, but I think I've definitely dealt with preferences for sure. I've had people tell me, you know, they don't like black guys, you know, or I'm too short or whatever, I'm too skinny, or my dick ain't big enough, or you know, I'm looking for a top, I'm looking for a full bottom, whatever, you know. It's always been something like that. And so,
well, the whole like not liking black guys thing, it just, I don't know, I feel like, and I won't say that about any, I mean, me personally, I won't say that about any race, that I just don't like X race or ethnicity, like, because there are so many different like, we're all made up of different people, you know, and I really just try to look at everybody for an individual. And, you know, it's a shame to not get the same treatment from a lot of other people. And I won't say from everybody. I don't think everybody is like anti-black, but there are a lot of times where it's like, where I've heard, like, you know, oh, you know, I might go out with, like, back in the day, pre-slap, I might go out with Will Smith. I don't know how it is now. You know, he was like the gold standard of like black male attractiveness.
If I got to date a black man, he needs to be as rich as Will Smith, as cute as Will. Like, he can't. But I'm not dating.
Right. But then it's just
I'm not
like,
saying that that's what they were saying.
Yeah, but I mean, it was kind of like, yeah, and it was just like, you know, well, Will, like, that's
Will Smith ain't dating you, baby. How about that?
It was just so weird. It's like, okay, you would only make the exception for Will Smith. Like, why? And like, what does, like, you know, it was just weird. It was just weird to me. Like, you don't think that black men can embody the same thing. Like, if that's the type of black man that you would be interested in, you would not give anybody else the chance of.
I think
anything,
a lot of the times, I'm not gonna say a lot of the times, I don't know, but I've heard people say before, like, and not just in the gay community, but in general. And I'm sure you guys have heard this before too, where your friends would say, "Oh, my mom or my dad would die if I brought a black man home." You guys never heard that before?
I've never heard that.
I have heard
Spanish
that.
cultures or Latin cultures. There's Latin cultures.
I just can't believe it actually happens.
I mean, I've never heard that
it.
personally. I
Yeah,
know.
I haven't heard it.
I've definitely have heard
Okay.
it from my friends, and then it's not like they wouldn't date a black person, but they're just telling me this is their parents' belief, and so a lot of the times, even if you don't realize it, like a lot of the times it comes from your upbringing. You know what I mean? Like the way your parents raise you and things like that, and you learn those behaviors or those beliefs from them because of how and they've learned it from their parents and so on and so on. And we know we live in America where it's built off of racism. So if you learning from generations previous, obviously it's going to continue this cycle of racism and perpetuating an image that is not necessarily true.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And, I also feel like a lot of people, I don't believe in just like cutting out a whole swath of people based on a stereotype and I would say that for any ethnicity or race or whatever. I don't believe in that. I'm just like, I'm very...
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Finish your thought.
I mean, but that's basically, it's just like, I'm very much like, I will see a person as an individual, and if I like that individual or not, okay, but I'm not going to attribute that to the whole race or ethnicity. Like,
so I have a question for both of you, and I don't want this to come off offensively. So bear with me. You know, I try my best to say how I feel, and I articulate it sometimes well.
Just say it.
But so you both have a personality where some people might say you don't act black, which I don't necessarily believe in.
I get that all the time.
I don't believe in that because there's no such thing. You are black, so it's nothing you can do about that. You black, you can't change it. So you're acting yourself. But I'm sure you both have heard that statement before, right?
People call me white all the time.
So have you ever experienced in the black community where people might treat you negatively because of the way you act? And so do you think that might have an influence on the way you treat other races?
I don't think it influences how I treat other races, but I've definitely been treated differently within, the black community. And
you're mixed, so
I am mixed, yeah. And that's why I also I get it, because and I like, obviously this isn't like a general thing. A lot of times, especially when growing up, I feel like I was kind of alienated from other black people because of the way that I talk, because I grew up in suburbia and they grew up, a lot of the black people that went to my school were from the group home. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them were from the group home, and they did not like me at all. And I wanted to be their friend, but they didn't want to be mine. A lot of them were dark-skinned black women, and I don't think it wasn't. I do not think this whatsoever. I think there are some light skins that do that, like, they're just jealous of like my skin color, of like my hair and stuff, and I don't think that at all. I definitely do think that it's more of I'm treated differently than they are. Right. They definitely face a harder prejudice than I do, and I'm very aware of that. I don't like to slide that under the rug, and so I definitely think that is a reason that I'm not largely accepted by other black women or black men, especially those who are darker than me. I think that they definitely face a different kind of racism that I do. We definitely all face racism, but I'm fully aware that theirs is a lot harsher than mine.
And I think when you're younger, or when, like I said, I think on the previous episode I might have said this, but kids are mean, you know. And so when you're younger, you don't know how to you have a feeling like, why does she get to do something, but when I do it, I get in trouble for it. So I can think that as a child, but I don't know how to express that verbally. So instead, I'm gonna attack you because why? You know, like whatever. It's not fair. And so, but I think as we get older, and life goes on, people grow out of those things, and you know, but I think my point in bringing that up was that in the like black culture, when people say you don't act black, I think it's because it's more like a cultural thing. Like, and there's certain things, like on the other episode I said the Set It Off reference, right? And you guys had never seen Set It Off. I was so shocked. And so,
but we've seen other black films.
yeah, I mean,
you know,
it's
I've seen
it's not
In
a
Living
slight.
Color.
And I haven't seen every episode of In Living Color. I've seen like maybe 2 or 3. But and that's not a slight. But my point is, it's just like eventually it becomes a thing where like people are now saying, not because of your skin color, but because you don't know certain cultural reference, or like certain things that you do are different than what the normal.
I mean, you know, I will say,
is to do.
I will say, you know, with me, like I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I am a part of the black gay community, whether they like it or
black.
not.
You don't have a choice.
Well, I'm just saying.
No, I
know
get what
that
you're
I
saying,
am.
yeah.
I don't know whether other people feel like I am, or feel that I know that I am.
Oh, child, they know. They know Jarrod D. King.
Well, I'm just saying.
In the Philadelphia black community, they know Jarrod D. King.
I know, but I'm just saying. It's just like, you know, the whole thing, like. You know, I've gotten comments on TikTok, like, you know, when Tony was like, oh, you don't have a lot of black friends. It's just like I know what you're saying in that moment. I knew what he was doing in that moment, and I thought that was very nasty. I thought it was evil, and I do not appreciate that. I do not appreciate it, and he will forever be an enemy to me because of that. I'm just going to be completely honest, okay? Because he knew how people were going to take that. And he threw that out there with no provocation. We weren't talking about race. You know what I'm saying? So that was wrong. That was completely wrong. So I just wanted to say that, because then y'all try to tell me about how the black gay community is as if I don't know what that is. Like, come on. So that made me really angry, and I think you can see that.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, and it's not. It's like, and I don't feel like I have to defend myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like I have to explain the makeup of my friend group. You don't know, like, and I won't unless anybody asks me. I won't. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tony doesn't know my friend group. He sees a couple pictures on Instagram. You don't know who these people are. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. So, no, wrong. And on top of that, it's like, I've tried to be a part of the black gay community. I've been on the board of Philly Black Pride. I have tried to be a part of Tony's hashtag toxic tennis group, and that didn't work out. So, what do y'all want me to do?
So I think that I'm not gonna speak on Tony, but I think, let me just speak on that situation really quickly. I think, like,
well, what are you speaking on? Are you speaking in defense of Tony?
I'm not defending nobody.
Okay.
I'm just saying that what I will say is that I just think that, like, maybe he shouldn't have said it. So maybe he should have said it differently. I think, but his point was what I just said. I don't think how he said it was probably not handled with tact, if that makes sense. And so, and it is clearly upsetting you. So I think that maybe y'all need to have a conversation.
We don't have to have a conversation.
Okay. All right.
I'm done having conversations with Tony. Let me just make that very clear. Okay? Done having conversations with Tony.
Jarrod.
You can be on the panel, but that's it. I'm just letting everybody know.
Jarrod.
That's it.
We the BoyFriends podcast.
Okay. He can sit on the side. That's fine with me. He can talk all he wants to. That's it.
So,
but we want to get back to the topic of being, dealing with race. Like, if you want to talk about, like, the intricacies of the Black gay community and how we treat each other,
right.
That's one of the things. It's like...
I had a point in bringing all that up. I didn't mean to stir up that many feelings. I'm
it's part of the conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think you egged it on.
Yeah. So, my point in bringing that up is when I'm not opposed to dating outside my race. I'm open to any and everybody, but normally I will go for a Black person just because it's easier, because they understand. Black people understand Black culture. Like, even if they don't understand all, like, they ain't seen Set It Off, that's not a big deal. But you understand what it is to be a Black person in America. Mm-hmm. And so within itself, I don't have to explain certain things to you. Like, when you hear police sirens, you kind of get a flutter in your, and that's like just all Black people, just because of being Black in America. So, but it's different when you have other cultures. So, like I said, I'm not actively searching for other cultures, but I am open and receptive to it, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
I've actually been trying to. This sounds so white of me, and it's because I've had so many white friends. Because, like, starting from, like, high school, Black girls just didn't want to be friends with me. And
I mean,
and so,
let me ask you this: You're from California.
Yeah,
you're like literally a Valley girl.
Yeah, I am
right?
a Valley girl.
Okay.
Can I ask what the percentage of Black people in your school was?
There weren't very many.
Like, if you had to give a number, like a percentage, less than 10.
I want to say 25%.
Okay. Out of how many students you think?
What
was your graduating class?
My graduating class was big. It was big.
Okay.
And yeah, so, it's just, I think I just kind of unintentionally just, like, stopped trying, because I was like, well, they're not gonna like me anyway, so I guess I'll just keep making white friends. And maybe that's why I became, I guess, so white, because those were the only people that were gonna hang out with me. So I just hung out with them. And then I guess that kind of developed my dating preference too. Like, so then I was just like, okay, I'll just start dating white guys, because that's who my friends are into. Mm-hmm. And then it just kind of developed into this thing of, like, me thinking that all Black people are just my relatives, which is so stupid.
Yeah,
it's dumb. And I will
let's work past that.
I know. And it's and again, I'm gonna sound so white, but my first ever, like, boyfriend, like, when I was, like, 13, he was Black. And then the other guy that I was almost gonna date, his name was, like, Xavier. He was so cute. And he was from the group home, and we were supposed to go out on a movie. But then apparently there was some drama in the group home, and he was dating someone else. And then I was going to get beat up, and I was like, okay, so I'm not going to date any more Black guys at my school. And risk of getting beaten up. And then it just turned into this whole thing. I don't know. I really don't know.
All right. Well,
I tried and I failed. And then I got to college, and then I was finally like, okay, no one's from the group home here. Let's do this.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if it's just me. And I think by then, when I was in college, I just acted too white. And then none of those Black girls want to be my friends. And now at this point, I'm just like, am I just awful?
No. I mean, I feel like, and you have Black friends. I mean, we're sitting right next to you. We're sitting.
Hello.
So
and Kiara.
So it's not like people can't stomach you or anything like that. It's just you just got a different personality, and not everybody's gonna be able to jump on board with that, unfortunately.
So yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think I would consider us all friends, and I think that it takes a certain type of maturity to understand that you don't have to act a certain way to be black, or you don't have to know a certain thing or do a certain, or that doesn't define blackness. You're black because you're black, like, and so but you do have some people like that are ignorant is I think the appropriate word, honestly, just ignorant, and so they don't understand. They can't think outside of what they know. And so it just is what it is. So everybody isn't like that. Like, you have mature people. Like, I consider myself aware of black culture. and so, and I'm also able to hang out with any and everybody and have a conversation without ever having to worry about my race being a thing, or the color of my skin, or how dark, like I'm darker than both of you. So like that.
It pains me. I want to be darker so bad.
Oh, stop. I'm cutting that out.
Yeah, you got to cut that out because they're gonna eat you up for that one. But yeah, so let's switch to preferences. Like, I think we've talked about racism. It's horrible, but honestly...
Well, but I mean, I think that's the question. I mean, like, it's racism and preferences mixed together. It's like... Because when I read that, it's not just... Because I feel like, like, is it okay to have a racial preference? Now, the one thing that I think is a little bit difficult to unwrap is, like, we say to white people, if you're not into black people, then that's racist. But if it's on the opposite side, like to black people to not want to date a white person, then that's okay.
I think that's like, it's like a double-edged sword because it can be racist, but it also might just be a preference. Like I just said earlier, I'm open and receptive to dating any race. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, but I'm going to normally go for a black person because it's, like I said, easier, and there's an understanding there, like, culturally. Yeah. So I don't have to explain certain things. But if I did date like someone from Europe, a perfect example. So recently, Jeremy's friend came in town from Amsterdam, and he brought his American friends. They were all white. It was like 4 of them, but he was the only white person from Amsterdam. He was like from there, right? Like, so he came over our house. We're all hanging out, drinking. It's just me and Jeremy, the only 2 black people, and it's 4 of the white people. And so we're playing King's Cup, right? And then it came to a point where we played, the game was Never Have I Ever. And I think the guy from Amsterdam said something.
Never have I ever been with a black guy or something?
No. I don't know what he said, but whatever Jeremy responded to, because I don't want to lie and like whatever, but he said something, whatever Jeremy responded to, he goes, "Oh, I'm going to have you come to my house and clean up in the morning." And so everybody else in the room is like, because they're all American.
Yeah,
so
they know the context.
Like,
yeah.
Everybody's mouth dropped. And he was like, "What? What did I say?" And they were like, and so, I mean, it was understood, like, okay, he's not, he doesn't understand the context of what he just said. But so we had a conversation about, he was like, "That's, and Jeremy knows him, like, they're friends." So he was like, "I know you didn't mean it, but let me just explain it to you so you don't go somewhere else and say that and get slapped or something." Like, but yeah.
That makes me think of, like, so again, most of my friends that I hang out with are black, and I joke about.
Wait, most of your friends are black?
I mean, white. I'm sorry. Most of my friends are white. I misspoke.
Like, what?
Sorry.
Contradictory? No, just
you can cut that out. Sorry, I misspoke.
It's okay.
Yeah, most of my friends are white, and I joke about race all the time because, growing up, I learned to say, like, me and my sister were joking, and I said, because my friend Tyler got a new apartment, I was FaceTiming my sister. I was like, "Look at Tyler's sink. That's such a white people sink." And she was like, "What do you..." And Tyler's like, "What do you mean?" I'm just like, "It's fancy." And she's like, "Do you mean like a rich people sink?" I'm like, "No, it's a white people sink." And she's like...
But see, okay, that
doesn't make any sense, Renee.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit problematic.
It is. No,
okay.
Yeah.
No,
I was like, I'm assuming you knew what you were saying.
It is problematic, but, like, me and my sister just grew up saying those things because, like, we just assumed that, like, the higher things in life were just, like, reserved for white people.
Okay.
And then, like, and my friend Tyler, she pointed out to me, she's like, "Renee, no.
Yeah,
It's like it's like a fancier thing. Like black people have it too. But like, and then sometimes when I'll like they'll make like kind of like a little joke about race that's like very low grade, but every single time they do, they kind of like with me, and I'm just like, it was funny.
God, hey, you gotta watch that.
They pause. They're like,
yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
What was I was trying to go back to?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
So I said that whole little Amsterdam story because I was talking about how it's easier to just date someone black because I don't have to explain something like that.
Yeah, culturally, it's a little bit easier to relate with somebody from the same race. I mean, like, and I think that is the same across the board. Now, does that mean that you should kind of cut yourself off from another ethnicity? I don't believe so. I can understand some black people saying like, I don't want to, like, I get it. But at the same time, I still feel like we should treat people as individuals. And I feel like I know where you're going with this. It's just because, at least in the United States, I feel like at least in the United States, a lot of times, as it is specifically with black and white relationships or whatever, it kind of gets to a weird place sometimes. Right. And a lot of black people would rather not have to deal with the racism or the ignorance of trying to bring somebody else up to speed.
And I just want to point out, ignorance is like, because sometimes people take that word offensively.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but it's like ignorance means you're just not aware, or you're not knowledgeable about something. It's not an insult all the time. It can be, but in this case, it's not.
Right.
I think I've been told a bunch of times that like I need to stop dating white men because that's usually my preference. I prefer to date outside of my race, mainly because like I like dating the opposite of me. That's just like what I'm attracted to. So even like a super dark skinned black man I find really, really attractive, especially when they're in like a really nice suit. Something about a very beautiful black man in a suit gets me.
If you look and pizza, don't forget pizza.
I think my preference definitely does go for white men because again, I think that's just kind of how I grew up and that's like who my friends were attracted to growing up. And so then I started forming an attraction like, oh yeah, you know what? He's cute. And so it just kind of formed, I think, that way. But I would never say like, oh, I would never date a black guy because that is so weird. Why would you say that? That's like, it's 2022.
Right.
Don't say that.
Why
That's weird.
Wouldn't you date a black guy?
Right. Why wouldn't you date a black guy? And the same. I think I'm very attracted to East Asian men. I think they're so pretty. They're so beautiful. All races are beautiful, but like I don't stick to one race. Like my dating history will tell you otherwise, but that's because I just don't really have a great dating history. I think after the flirtation stage, a lot of people are like, you know what? No.
Yeah. I mean, I am very like open to whomever. So. Yeah, I leave it open like to the person. If they're a good person, then I'm good. I'm not gonna shut you down for anything. Have
you guys ever been told like after you've hooked up with a guy outside of your race, like never hooked up with a black guy before, or that was my first black guy?
I think I've only heard that like once or something.
I've been with a black guy before, right? I've gotten that. But sometimes,
but if I get that pre-hookup, I'm like, all right, no, I'm good. I'm good on that. Never mind. If I know that going, I'm like, I'm not gonna just go into that situation. I'm gonna be like, all right, you go ahead.
Check you off the roster, right, I
guess. You got some other stuff going on. But yeah, no, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of going into what I was talking about before we started recording, like the fetishizing.
Fetishizing.
I don't know why I can't get it out. Fetishizing.
Yeah, I can't say it either.
Fetishizing.
Yeah, that. But yeah, so is that racist? Do you guys think that's racist?
Racist for what?
Fetishizing?
So I think that there's definitely a line. So when I say that, like, I think that, East Asian men are really pretty, I don't believe that I'm fetishizing them. I think that I'm saying that, like, I think that in general, most of the East Asian men that I've seen are really I'm very attracted to them. I think if, again, please don't take this out of context. I think if I
have to put the question out there because you've said it, and I feel like we would not have an honest conversation if I didn't say this. But why not Southeast Asian, or why not Indian?
Sorry. No, I apologize. No, I definitely, no, I like all races. I've tried hitting on an Indian. I don't think they like me very much.
Oh my God. But see, that's a lot. That's like, that's like broad strokes terminology.
I try to open my surroundings and like date a bunch of different people, especially a bunch of different races, because I don't want to close myself off. But
I mean, well, because one guy didn't like you doesn't mean
I
Indian men
know.
don't like
I'm
you.
trying, and I can't. I'm trying to like be more open, and I just like I haven't found one that's attracted to me, I guess.
You're gonna find that one that's gonna be your husband.
I hope so. But yeah, no, I didn't mean just Southeast Asian. I apologize. I'm like, honestly, any Asian, any race. But I don't think that that's fetishizing. I think it would be fetishizing if I said, like, I really want to get one in bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and that's the only reason.
Like,
why.
or like they're like, because then it becomes innately sexual.
Right.
I bet they like would be good at going down on me or something like that.
Well,
I
guess
fetishizing.
Technically, I guess if you want to get granular with that term, with fetish in there, I mean, sexual would have to be a part of it. But at the same time, you could also technically, like, I want to be with this type of person because they would make a good husband, or they are smart, true. Or right. They are, they have good hair. Yeah, so, or they're strong. You want to be with a black man because they're going to be your bodyguard or some crap like that. Like,
that you're right.
I don't. What was the woman that said that? I think said that.
What?
Allegedly, I will put that out there. Allegedly, had a black boyfriend, and she was. I think it was. I wasn't as.
She's dated a few.
And then she like mentioned. It was something around like, and I think, and I don't know, like she says a lot of stuff that's.
Man?
I don't know if she's now.
She's dating. I
have no idea.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, I think it was kind of like, I don't know, because she says stuff and she tries to make a joke out of everything. So I don't know whether it was one of those types of remarks where it's just like, oh, he make a really good bodyguard or something like that. But it's just like, that's not the reason,
right?
Because a white guy can make a good bodyguard too. They get buff.
Right. Who?
Be like her saying like only like black men could be like the bodyguard.
No, I didn't hear. I just didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I said because like a white guy or like a
Korean
guy, an Indian guy, they can get buff too. They can be bodyguards.
And the point is, and this is where the racism kicks in, is because it's nuanced that black men are scary. Or people are scared of black men, and so that's why he would be a good bodyguard. And that's where it's like. I mean, we don't know the context of how she said it, but therein lies the racism of it all, or the prejudice or the stereotype.
Yeah, it's interesting because there are a lot of stereotypes about a lot of different races. And, I think with black men, it's the aggressiveness thing.
Black people in general.
Yeah.
For some reason,
they think we're aggressive. And I think, we have big dicks.
Right.
Neither are true across the board.
Right.
But a lot of times those things could be what, like, the aggression might be the thing that kind of detracts, like, pushes people away, that stereotype. But, everybody talks about BBC. It's like, okay, I want to BBC.
I said it, fetishizing.
No,
I got it.
Fetish.
You got to pronounce the H when you put the ing in it.
Fetishizing.
I like fetishizing.
But
fetishizing.
I'm gonna stick with fetishizing.
But then when it's what is it? Asian men, there's the stereotype that they're short or that they have small penises, and it's like,
and neither of those
that's
are
not
true.
That's not true.
The tallest cast member out of all of us.
Right. So I mean, come on. And a lot of people will see them as like bottoms first in the gay community, like. they can't possibly be a top. And it's just like, can y'all get over that?
And we can't possibly be
you
a
know,
bottom.
and then I guess with Latinos it's just like very like sexual, and they're just like they've got all this sexual energy, and they're fiery, and it's just like just see me for who I am. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
define an entire group, and that's across the board, not just with race, not just with beliefs or anything. One particular experience doesn't define any group. So, and I think that's the issue. But I think that's a human trait as well. Like, we learn at an early age to like categorize everything, and that's how we learn. Like,
it makes things a lot easier.
Right. Like, I always remember them teaching me this in like psychology. It was like, when a child sees a zebra for the first time, they might say a horse because that's their first time seeing a zebra, but they know it looks like a horse, but it's a zebra, you know? And so that's just like a human trait for us to have something and try to put it into a box to make it make sense for us, you know? So like, I'll have this experience with a white person, and now I'm like, you see, white people are racist. That's their problem now. This is what's wrong with America. But it doesn't mean every white person is racist. It just means that was right. Yeah. And so that's the issue. Now, I do want to hop into more so on the preferences side, like, because I do want to defend preferences.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's a problem. Preferences are not a problem. Okay. The problem is when you start to exclude people based on things that are not necessarily your preference. I think we talked about this before. Like, you can have a preference, but then when you start picking out things that are not necessarily a part of that is when it becomes an issue. It doesn't necessarily be racism. It could be anything. Like, the no fats, no femmes thing, I hate that. It's the weirdest thing.
The what?
No fat, no
femmes. Or this boggles my mind when people say DL only. Like, you're on a gay website talking about you down low. Make it make sense. How does that make sense? Like,
it does not.
It does not make sense to me. And
then I mean, if they don't put a picture up, then they're still on the down low.
I'm gonna meet you. If the intention is to meet you in person,
put on the
you
hoodie,
are no longer down
low.
Wait, okay, so hold up, because in defense of this, because I hear a lot of people saying this, I feel like you can still be DL and be on a gay website. You just can't put your identity out there.
When we meet up, your identity is now out there.
But
if I was really this person that, because you can't send me no picture, you can't do this, you can't do that. If I was really this malicious person and I wanted to meet up with you,
because you called it malicious, is that malicious?
To out someone?
To out someone. Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming that's the point of them being down low, is because they don't want to be outed.
Yeah.
And so if I was really this malicious person that was trying to out you, when I meet you in person, I could do that. Like, so it doesn't, that defeats, I don't know, it just
But
doesn't
I mean,
make
if
sense
you're
to me.
DL and you meet somebody in person off the app, and I mean, that's the same risk that you're running, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think, it seems kind of like the same thing to me.
I think also it's because it's 2022 and there's no reason to be down low anymore. Like, being gay is like the new thing. Like, it is.
My
Oh, wait,
goodness.
that came out wrong. Let me retract that. Everybody's coming out now. And like,
I feel like the gay community still faces a shit ton of backlash.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could say that with any.
And it also depends on the community that you're in, because I'm like, if they're like in Nowheresville, Kentucky.
Like, I feel like now we live in a world where, like, if you're, I don't want this to come out wrong, but I feel like it is. If you're just gay, it's like, oh.
Oh my god!
Like, nowadays,
that's it.
Like, oh, okay. Like, nowadays it's more.
You're just the G?
I think I feel more empathy for like trans people and things like that. This is my point. Like, it's more. I see more the struggle in that aspect nowadays. Like, nowadays, like, a lot of kids, and it's still, that's not the case for everybody, but a lot of kids don't have an issue with coming out because it's like we've been exposed to it now. It's like it's not a big deal. But now we're trying to conceptualize like, people are trying to get used to the idea of trans identity, and so like that is, I think, the new people who are being fetishized.
You said it correctly, yes.
Yes, and they're also being targeted. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. it's not racism, but it's similar. What is the word I'm looking for?
What do you mean targeted for?
Like it's the same concept
Hate?
as racism, but for your gender. It's homophobia, but
Okay.
it's a particular word.
Like transphobia?
I guess so.
or-
I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but it'll come to me. But yeah, so
Sexism.
it's okay. Just we're gonna let it go. I drink. That's just too much tea.
It's okay. I zoned out in the last 2 seconds of what you were saying, and that's why I can't come up with the word for you.
So you weren't listening to me?
I got a million things going through my head
Trying to
right
figure
now,
out what you're
okay?
gonna say next.
Oh my gosh.
This is really hard. I just want y'all to know, like, because sometimes we be.
There's like
we
5 of us. Everybody can like help us out sometimes because everybody's
Right.
always talking. But
And then sometimes you like trying to think about what you're gonna say, but also listening to the other person
Exactly.
It's hard.
to be able to respond.
Exactly.
And then sometimes what you're saying might not go into what they talk about. So you like.
So
how
then you
can
have
I
to hold it back and then find a way to like bring it in again.
yeah,
And then you forget halfway through. It's not easy, y'all. And it's hot in here today. If y'all see us sweating, like it's hot.
I'm actually fine.
I'm fine too.
It's the tea.
Okay, so we've talked about some preferences. We've talked about dealing with racism. I mean, I don't know if I've necessarily talked about dealing with racism outside, like from because we kind of got stuck on like the Black community,
Right.
In and of itself.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess just to bring that back up for a quick second, I feel like I have dealt with it.
Racism.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like it's hard to explain it to anybody outside of
Your race.
your race because nowadays, and I mean at least where we are in Philly, like in a major metropolitan city, where it's a lot more undercover, it's a lot more like unspoken, but it's still there, and it's like, a lot of people can just be like, are you just being sensitive or what? And it's just like, no, I know what it is.
But you don't, because you don't experience it.
You don't experience it.
And
right.
I think a lot of that, which is why I'm like careful when I say racism. And I think a lot of it comes from like privilege and not necessarily having to look at it from my point of view. If you never had to experience outside of your point of view, then you won't. You won't ever be able to understand because you've never been denied entry to a place because you had on sneakers, or right, or you never. I'll never forget. And when I was in college, I was playing beer pong, which I suck at, but this guy goes, "Melvin, you should be good at beer pong," and everybody was like, "What?"
Wow.
Like.
Why? Because it's like basketball.
I guess so. I don't
know.
know. But
I hate those
and so
kind of
like
comments.
and so people don't understand the idiocracy of what they say if they've never had to be confronted by it, you know what I mean? Like us as minorities, we're conscious of what we say because we have to always be on guard because we don't know what may or may not happen. We have to be conscious of who we're in the room with or like how we speak when we walk into certain places. Like sometimes I use slang, but when I walk into a certain room, I won't. You know what I mean? I'll code switch, as we like to say, because I don't want to be viewed as whatever you think I am. Like and that's not to say I'm not going to be who I am, but I'm also not blind to the fact that I already come in at a disadvantage because of the way people view Black people, you know what I mean? And so I'm going to do what I need to do to fight those things and not be at a disadvantage. It sucks. Racism sucks.
It does. And the thing is if you're going to mix with people outside of your race, you kind of have to like I'm aware of it and I won't tolerate it. And if my friends around me want to act like I'm being too sensitive or something, then they can go step off too. You know what I'm saying?
So have you ever experienced it with a friend who you're still friends with, like currently? Like, have they ever said something that was out of line and you was like, hey,
Yeah, I have actually. And I
do
think.
you mind sharing the story? Like,
No, I don't. I'm not comfortable sharing the full story behind that,
It
but
was like a outline, just like a broad.
Wow.
Just give us like. Just give us like what.
Okay, we don't need the full story.
Yeah, not
especially if
even.
he's not
I'm not asking the
comfortable.
full
I
story.
mean-
I want like just a little. Just give us like enough to like. You don't got to fill in the whole puzzle. Just give us the corner pieces.
Okay, so I'm trying to think how I can say this.
So something was said.
Something was said, and I had to be like it was a record scratch. It was like a record scratch moment, and everybody knew it. And I was just like,
So they
what?
felt it too.
They felt it. I mean, like as soon when I said it, because I said it like immediately, it was like what the hell are you talking about? And it was like, oh wait a minute.
I want to know what was said. Oh my god.
And the other person got was like had that little bit of a hesitation, moment where it was like,
did they apologize? What happened?
I was just like, no, we can't do that. Don't say that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit.
And we moved on because I didn't want it to be a big moment.
Right.
Right then. But and I think they understood what I was saying and where I was coming from. And I understood that, I understood that he was not trying to be offensive or they didn't know exactly what they were saying when they said it. It just kind of came out. And yeah.
I mean,
and it's one of those moments where it's like why people say I don't see color is a problem. Because in that moment he didn't register that he was with a black person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, wait a minute.
Let me
you know what I'm
remind
saying?
you.
Right. So I mean, and I'm still friendly with this person. I'm not like super, super close, but I'm still friendly.
But now it's like I kind of like it rubs you the wrong way, and it's like I have a better look into your mind now, like what you're normally probably thinking about.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I don't think it's like I don't think the relationship is deep enough for it to have changed the dynamic of our relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like if you do it again, we might have to have a deeper conversation, or I might have to just be like, nah, because you already know from this moment on, like, I kind of put you on notice a little bit, like, don't do that again.
Would y'all slap somebody for saying something racist to you?
Yeah.
No. I wouldn't.
Okay, so
I wouldn't even.
I don't know.
So now I'm getting to see why you guys see the spicy.
I honestly, I've never let me say that I went to a PWI, so I've definitely been in situations where something racist was said, but I was outnumbered, and so I was like, I don't know enough people here to say something. Let me just leave.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. I left, but I definitely wanted to confront the person. Like something, it was basically they said the N-word, and it was it wasn't towards me, but it was about a black person, and they meant it derogatory.
I would have taken off my shoe.
I was pissed, and everybody they were trying to apologize and stuff. It was da 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 da. He didn't mean it about you. He didn't mean it about me. But does it fucking matter? It wasn't the point. But I was I said, I was at a party, so and I would think I was me and one other black person who I did not know, and he didn't hear it, and so it was I don't know how he might react, but for me, I'm gonna just leave because I don't want to get jumped I don't know where the situation.
I would have. I can't deal with that. I think I react more than I should because I would have gone off on him, and I've been so you
it was known that I was upset for sure, but I was
I would make it no to his face.
I was looked at him the fuck.
But I will also say, I mean, I feel like you saying that you would go off on somebody in their face is attributed a little bit to your privilege, if you don't mind me saying that.
Oh, probably.
Because I feel like you can go off,
right?
And people are going to be like, no, Renee, It's okay. And
no, you're right.
if I were to go off, or if he was to go off, like it'd have been like,
or
what are you doing? You're being dramatic. I mean,
maybe,
everybody's like thinking you're the aggressor in the situation. You know what I'm saying? It's
but
like,
maybe I should be able to use my advantage.
I think that honestly, to attribute to your point, if everyone were to recognize the privilege that they have in certain situations and were to use it for the right thing, you know what I mean? It would make a lot of this conversation almost obsolete. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I would 1,000%. Like, when I can use my privilege as a light-skinned black person, I do. 1,000%. Especially if it's to, like, talk a racist down or throw my shoe at them without getting arrested. Yes.
So have you ever heard of the term white guilt? Oh, is it black? I think it's white guilt. I'm pretty sure it's white guilt.
Yeah.
Like not making a white person, but a white person feeling guilty for whatever privilege that they have. And so they're nice to, or like overly nice to black people.
Yes.
Have y'all ever used that to your advantage? I know I have.
I did once in school, but it was based off of a race thing anyway, so like I used it against a teacher once.
Like, I think that if we're not gonna, okay, now I'm getting into my bag. If we're not gonna get reparations, you know, because this is a for real serious thing. This country was literally built from white. There are white people who are rich to this day. Like, they have built literal generational wealth because of what black people have done
and Native
for
Americans.
this country. Right, and Native Americans. So we do deserve, like, and it's a lot of black people who were disenfranchised because of certain things. Like, if you think about like the Tulsa thing or the Central Park thing, or even the thing that happened here in Philadelphia, like they bombed these
communities,
these affluent black communities, and just literally take over. And it's not fair. So reparations are definitely really needed. So if we're not going to get reparations, I'm gonna use that white guilt to my advantage. Hello.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever. I don't know if I've ever come across somebody that is quite that way. I mean, maybe I have, and if I have, I've been like
you'll notice it because they'll be overly apologetic about everything that they say, because it's like you didn't even say anything offensive. Like, you know, like
I mean, I don't think I've ever had that interaction with somebody, or if I have, I've always been like, okay, you know, see you later, you know, I'll move on.
Well, and so I used it to my advantage because like I had it in the past, and so I was like, I'm not gonna let it slip this time, because like when I was like in the 8th grade, we were doing a family tree project, and I cannot believe that this white lady said this to me. She was my teacher. She's just like, I know that this might be difficult. You probably don't know your father.
Wow.
What?
And I was so young that it didn't really like click until like I was really thinking about it like years later. I was like, wait a fucking second.
You should have went back and shoot her.
I should have gone back and put my shoe to her. She's just like
let's not talk about shooting.
Not shooting.
No, not shooting.
Not shooting.
Oh, shoe. Like with a shoe.
My
okay.
shoe.
I'm like,
my shoe.
what are we talking about right now?
Whoa.
Shooed.
You're right. That I do not want that to be
SHOED. Shooed. Yeah. No, I definitely should have. Because I can't believe that she said that. Like, I know this would be difficult. This is probably going to be difficult because you probably don't know your father. And so then we were kind of talking about race in my history class. And I got the opportunity to use white guilt against my teacher because she felt bad that I was the only one in the class that was black. That was a black person.
Oh, my goodness.
And she'd, like, use it to her advantage. And, well, I use it to my advantage. I forget what it was, but I was just like, yeah, it kind of hurt me. And she's just like, oh, yeah, then you, like, I won't mark you off our participation. I can tell that it's, like, awkward for you to speak. I'm like,
okay, sis, thanks. I don't want to speak, but whatever you need to do to make that happen, sure.
So, yeah, I didn't take advantage of it once, so I was like, I need to take advantage of it for this. Yes.
Final thoughts. Racism and preferences. It's kind of the annoying thing about this topic, which is why it's such a sensitive topic, is that as black people, there's not a lot we can do about it. We can talk about it, But the real issue is a systemic issue that the only real way to either beat it is to tear it down or to get into the positions of power to change it. Mm-hmm. And so until then, it's more like a conversation and protest.
Yeah. I think if I don't know, I'm just trying to turn this around to like help somebody that's maybe dealing with this, or maybe in an environment where it's very exclusive, where it's like, you know, because of your race, regardless of what your race or ethnicity is, that people are just like kind of pushing you back. And I've kind of felt that at times here in Philly. Yeah, I would say just stay close to the people who do accept you and try to work from there. And if the environment is not conducive to making friends or finding connections, you know, find somewhere else to go, or at least start making those steps to kind of get out of that environment.
We live in this what's great about this time, is that we live in a world now where there's social media and there's all these different avenues for you to find your circle. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not where you are, you're still able to find that circle that you can fit into. And so, like, just be open to new ideas. Like, it might not be where you go to school at or what area that you live in, but get online and do some research. You know, you'll be able to find your circle.
Mm-hmm. Any last words, Renee?
Honestly, no. I think you guys really covered it. I think just honestly, in general, racism bad. Preferences are okay, but don't be exclusive.
So, please give us a like, subscribe, share, comments, everything. Do all the things for us, and let's grow this community that we have. And until next time, if you have no one else,
you got us.